Okay.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them.
Video Cat Williams has had a controversial visit to Seattle the past few days. And tonight,
we all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
Yeah.
But now it's not necessary for us to stir up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times.
Let me explain something to you. I know it's people doing poorly in this country.
Yeah.
And they shot Trayvon Martin dead for looking kind of like I look.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King and Malcolm X ended up dead for telling the truth. So as a comedian, I don't think it won't happen to me. I think they've thrown me in jail 36 times in 36 months, and I think you've never seen me in a court of law. That means they're effing with me.
I don't really know how to complain because all of the people that I ever looked up to had to go through it too. So I know how much they talked about Martin Luther King, and I know what they end up doing to him. I know this same story about Jesus and a few of my uncles. So now I know that if your mouth is really, really big and you try to tell the truth for a living and you like to air people out, hatred is coming your way.
America ain't about what the fuck happens to you. America is about what the fuck you do when the shit happens to you. So now, I have to come back and tell my people they finna fuck us. When you go home into your 2012, understand they already have concentration camps in the United States of motherfucking America that they've been building for 4 years now. And the question is, who in the fuck is you finna put in there? We already got a prison, and that motherfucker is so packed.
I didn't know it was going to be this type of hatred, but, you know, I'm concrete in all things because of He who strengthens me. So that doesn't mean I always make the right decisions, but I am going to stand by what I stand for. Michael Jackson, rest in peace. I got 50K on the Conrad Murray.
I ain't afraid to no go. F&A backwoods. Watching the blood slide. I ain't afraid to fuck people. Like only the hood matters. It's finna be 2012. I wish you niggas are living now. Could his hate for you to fucking kill me. So I did that shit myself.
Yeah, Illuminati want me dead, I walk around like I don't care. I know that it isn't fair, I walk around like I don't care. All you ghosts dead meat, money Michael Myers walk like Friday the 13th. Black Ben, Black Pin, Black Kitten crew. Lord forgive me what I'm about to do. Forgive me what I should've did. I wish these niggas they was dead. Fuck the devil's birthday.
And I'm only continuing to do it because I was looking for somebody who was doing it instead of me. And I just must have missed them, you know what I mean? So at some point you have to figure out what example are you trying to be. If it's just going to be you going to make it and live happily ever after and go off into the sunset, then that's what that is. Otherwise, you're on the front line of this battle. And those of us who understand that this is a part of what comes with it.
My motherfucking pleasure, you can just buckle yourself. Fucking with God's side bad for your health. I wish you demons.
Word to Bernie Mac. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Try me. You'll like it.
I had to ask some friends because I was hearing a lot about her, and so they told me, you know, who she was and what she was doing. And I come from the school of thought there's just some things that the public just shouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like things that happen between two people, a wife and a husband, girl. I just don't think that it's for mass consumption. I just have always felt that way, and I just think that the whole idea of celebrity and fame has become really convoluted and, you know, kind of bastardized, like whereas fame used to be the byproduct of success, and now it's the ultimate goal. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Like you're gonna end up on a one-way street and it's going nowhere. Like that's just the truth. I've seen so many people like forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. It's really not worth it.
At least if you in the ATL and a nigga doing drugs in the ATL, the nigga at least excuse himself, go to the bathroom or some shit. Niggas in Hollywood just do the drugs right in front of you and act like ain't shit happened. You in the middle of a goddamn meeting. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the movie with you, and then we're gonna go back. Nigga, did you know that I can see you? Nigga, you right there. It's on your nose, nigga. What? Motherfuckers be gay in Hollywood, you never fucking expected. They be having these big ass mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited than a motherfucker to be at the mansion party. You be looking in all the goddamn rooms, and you fuck around and look in the wrong room and shit. Nigga, come here, come here. Is that two niggas kissing? Is one of them niggas Professor Ovi? He came out the closet, he came out the closet. Oh my God, a rubber. Shut the goddamn door.
Corey Feldman has no idea what it's like not to be famous. He was just 3 years old in this McDonald's commercial.
McDonald's gift certificates.
I literally was famous before I knew my own name.
His roles defined the 80s. Goonies.
This was my dream, my wish.
Stand By Me.
You call my dad a loony again, and I'll kill you.
License to Drive.
The only difference between you and that greaseball is that he has a license and you don't.
Films that propelled him into the spotlight for his entire youth. But being famous so young, he says, caused serious damage to him and his friends.
Do you feel like you missed out on a normal childhood?
What childhood? I don't know what that means.
A lost childhood and a loss of innocence. He blames the adults, not just those looking to profit from charming children, but also some with far more sinister motives.
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim, his co-star in The Lost Boys.
Well, what happens if my mom is dating the head vampire?
Feldman says the trauma of that pedophilia contributed to Haim's death.
There's one person to blame in the death of Corey Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah. There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves around this group of kids. And they all had either their own power or connections to great power in the entertainment industry.
Feldman won't name names. And he admits his friend had a struggle with addiction, which he says was a mechanism to cope with his demons.
It was a symptom.
It was a symptom, correct.
Are we in it?
In 2008, the two Coreys confronted each other on their reality show about the dark past they shared.
You let me get around in my life, man, raped, so to speak, when I was about 14 and a half, and I'm saying this right now. What'd you do, man, when you saw that going down when I was 14 to me? What'd you do? You knew about it.
You want to talk about the truth? Okay, well then let's talk about the truth. I was being molested at the same time by somebody else. What'd you do? You know, there's a lot of good people in this industry, but there's also a lot of really, really sick, corrupt people in this industry. And there are people in this industry who have gotten away with it for so long that they feel they're above the law. And that's got to change. That's got to stop.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like, when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers got to wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on. And, what? A prostitute? No, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave, listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then, like, the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain in here? So then, wear the dress. I don't want to wear the dress. I want to wear this dress. You know what I mean? This is, oh, gosh, this guy's so difficult. They leave. Now the producers comes, come on, David, would be so great. I mean, and then I started thinking about it. All the comics that I've seen, man, you know, strong brothers, why they be putting us in these dresses? But the minute it was clear, I was adamant, I'm not wearing a dress. I'm not wearing the dress. All right, fine. Think of something else. Guy comes back 10 minutes later, the whole new scene. Damn, how did you write the scene so fast? You know, it's like, so you got to take a...
For the past 20 years, my wife Evie and I have been the victims of criminal activities perpetrated by a small network of individuals who are out to destroy us personally, professionally, and financially. This network of individuals is manipulating the banking system and the criminal justice system for the purposes of sabotaging our credit and our credibility. Up until a year ago, Evie and I had never had any run-in with the law whatsoever. We are not criminals, nor are we fugitives from justice, nor are we crazy. We are simply artists and filmmakers who are being racketeered on. We believe there are to be a malignant tumor of star whackers in Hollywood. How many people do you know personally who have died suddenly and mysteriously in the past 5 years? I have personally known 8 actors, all of whom I have worked with and was close to. Heath Ledger, Chris Penn, David Carradine among them. I believe these actors were whacked, and I believe that many others, such as Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Mel Gibson, are being played to get at their money. In the meantime, many a celebrity's image and marketability is being co-opted and destroyed. Google helps out by keeping the negative stories near the top of a celebrity's webpage because it's the negativity that brings in the advertising revenue. In my own case, my ex-attorney Lloyd Braun has joined this tribe of bottom feeders by creating his own celebrity gossip website. What is wrong with that picture? When your own attorney starts defaming you, who do you turn to defend you? Lloyd Braun also claims to have come up with the idea of The Sopranos, so he's obviously familiar with the ways and means of organized crime. Unfortunately, my brother Dennis has made matters worse by buying a house from Mr. Braun on property Braun originally bought with money he embezzled from me. I recently discovered, much to my surprise, that Dennis is also on the deed to my Santa Barbara property. This is also the work of Mr. Braun, further confounding the validity of the transfer of my fully furnished property in 1992 to Mr. Bruce Berman. I have earned approximately $40 million throughout my career. I have profit participation in some of my films. I am being embezzled from by this monstrous ring of accountants, estate planners, and lawyers who are mercilessly slandering me and trying to kill my career, and I believe murder me in order to gain control of my royalties. I wish to return to only one thing: work.
So does your client plan on attending the hearing next week in Santa Barbara?
My client is intending to comply with the law in both jurisdictions, and we are going to spend the next couple of days strategizing how to best achieve that.
Will that not compromise your refugee?
It may. We have a number of options available to us now, some of which existed before he made a refugee claim and some which arose yesterday. So we're going to take a look at the best options, and it may be that we do abandon the refugee claim.
So in favor of what, citizenship application and sponsorship?
There are numerous options: work permits, permanent resident status. There are all sorts of options. This is what we need to discuss in Liberty.
And do you understand how paranoid and delusional your client sounds?
I'm not going to comment.
History got everyone in Hollywood talking shortly after walking the red carpet for the premiere of the movie Burlesque. Well-known Los Angeles publicist Ronnie Chasen was shot to death. Police say her Mercedes was riddled with bullets on Sunset Boulevard. She was apparently on her way home. Celebrity clients and friends are devastated.
Very, very tragic. I was stunned by that.
She loved actors, that's for sure, and that was one great thing about her. And you know, you kind of love the buzz and the craziness of this just nutty business that we're in.
She was full of life and really energetic and great, and you know, it's just one of those things I still haven't quite adjusted to. Like, that really happened here last night. It just seems impossible.
Police moving on that investigation, still no leads. Powerful Hollywood publicist Michael Levine was a longtime friend of Chasen's. He told me that he has started a reward fund. Levine hopes to raise $25,000 to help Beverly Hills police.
Who are you, and what group do you represent?
I represent a group of individuals that control the majority of the talent and money of Hollywood by any means possible.
Any means possible? Can you be a little more specific?
Through the administration of specific substances, we gain control of the Hollywood stars.
Like through prescription drugs?
No.
Illegal drugs?
No. Without getting into too much detail, the substance causes a slow deterioration of neurological function, causing the subject to slowly fade into a schizophrenic bipolar state.
Why would your group do such a thing?
We do it to gain control over the money and finances of Hollywood. Hollywood is much like a commodity. The talent is a commodity, like oil is a commodity, and needs to be controlled.
I don't understand. Wouldn't it be more profitable from your group's perspective to have a healthy entertainer working and making more money for your group?
Not really. Once an entertainer has reached a certain level of profitability, they fall out of that profitability zone. They're worth more if they do crazy things and if they eventually die in a crazy extreme manner.
sounds like a lot of work and manpower would have to be involved to execute such a complex, illegal maneuver.
Not really. The group is made up of 5 high-profile Hollywood individuals and 20 lower individuals in the group who unwittingly do the work of the group without even knowing they're involved in the group.
How is that possible?
To understand this, you have to understand Hollywood and how desperate people are to be famous. The town is built on manipulation, control, and submissiveness.
Well, how did you get involved in the group?
I was approached by a high-profile agent because of my connections with my family, a high-profile Hollywood family. I was asked to manage a roster of high-profile celebrities.
So why blow the whistle?
Due to all the publicity that the Quains are generating, presently my position in the group is in jeopardy and my life is threatened.
Well, why the mask?
Revealing my identity would put innocent people at risk.
Why me? Why not tell your story to CNN or some other major network?
The arms of the group stretch deep into the mainstream media. The story would never reach the light of day if I went through CNN or ABC.
Fair enough. Okay, let's talk about which celebrities your group has taken control of.
Living ones or dead ones?
Okay, let's start with the dead ones.
Michael Jackson, Anna Nicole Smith, Heath Ledger, River Phoenix. He was one of our first. As for celebrities that are presently alive and have been administered the substance, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, Joe Rogan, Jim Carrey, Mel Gibson, Celine, Bieber, just to name a few that I can remember.
So what you're saying is we can expect more bizarre behavior from these celebrities?
Yes, the substance has a immediate response in some people or can incubate in the brain for up to 3 years.
Okay, so what is this substance?
Like I said before the interview, there are certain things I will not discuss, but it is very real and very fatal.
Well, so how do you administer the substance?
The substance is admitted through a chain of food service workers who unwittingly administer the substance at high-profile celebrity events and movie sets.
Do you feel guilty for what you've done?
Yes, I feel guilty. That's why I'm telling my story.
Well, how much money has your group made off celebrities?
If I was to put it in general terms, I would say the low billions.
And, well, who are the top 5?
I cannot discuss the top 5. That would put my life and other innocent people in danger.
Yeah, but innocent lives are already at stake.
This interview is over.
You know, recently, when President Ford died, there was a lot of revisionist discussion about his pardoning of Richard Nixon. And in most cases, both Democrats and Republicans got on the talk shows and said, well, as it turned out, it was a great unifier for the country at a time. The country was very divided, chaos. And I think it's really quite the opposite. That when you have a precedent set like that, and you have somebody, George Tenet, acknowledging in his book that he knew that the administration was deceiving the American people into a situation that is murdering young men and women from this country and others, that George Tenet and Dick Cheney and Condoleezza Rice and George Bush et al. Should be in fucking jail. George breach tenant. This is, we talk about whistleblower protections, these kinds of things. When people do not, the American people are under the misconception that the oath is sworn to the President of the United States. It's to the Constitution of the United States.
That's right. Yeah.
And they are in violation of the Constitution.
So you have a...
Mr. President, Mr. Cheney, Ms. Rice et al. Indeed, America has a rich history of greatness. Indeed, America is still today a devastating military superpower. And because in the absence of a competent or brave Congress or a mobilized citizenry, that level of power lies in your hands. It is you who have misused it to become our country's and our Constitution's most devastating enemy. You have broken our country, and you have broken our hearts. The needless blood on your hands, and therefore on our own, is drowning the freedom, the security, and the dream that America might have been once healed of and awakened by the tragedy of September 11, 2001. But now, we are encouraged to self-censor any words that might be perceived as inflammatory, if our belief is that this war should stop today. We cower as you point your fingers, telling us to support our troops. Will you and the smarmy pundits in your pocket, those who bathe in the moisture of your soiled and blood-soaked underwear, can take that noise and shove it? Because we will be snowed no more. Now, let's make this crystal clear. We do support our troops in our stand, while you exploit them and their families. The verdict is in. You lied, connived, and exploited your own countrymen, and most of all, our troops. You, Mrs. Bush and Cheney, you, Ms. Rice, are villainously and criminally obscene people. Obscene human beings, incompetent even to fulfill your own self-serving agenda, while tragically neglectful and destructive of ours and our country's. And I've got a question for your daughters, Mr. Bush. They're not children anymore. Do they support your policy in Iraq? If they do, how dare they not be in uniform? While the children of the poor, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, and all other American working men and women are slaughtered, maimed, and flown back into this country under cover of darkness. Now, because I've been on the streets of Baghdad during this occupational war, outside the green zone, without security, and you haven't, I've met children there. I've met children there. In that country of 25 million, these children have now suffered minimally a rainstorm of civilian death around them and among them, totaling the equivalent of 200 September 11s in just 4 years of war. 200 9/11s. 200 9/11s. You want to rattle sabers towards Iran now? Let me tell you something, Iran, because I've been there and you haven't. Iran is a great country. A great country. Does it have haters? You bet. Just like the United States has its haters. Does it have a corrupt regime? You bet.
Does it want a nuclear weapon? Maybe. Do we have one? Yeah.
An hour after, there was another explosion in one of the towers here.
Sibel Edmonds, FBI translator, breaking her gag order.
All our intimate relationship with Bin Laden and Taliban. We did carry very intimate relationship with these people all the way up to September 11.
Bin Laden was spirited into this military hospital in Rawalpindi for kidney dialysis treatment. The military had him surrounded. They were saying that Osama bin Laden had to be watched carefully and looked after.
NORAD, standing down. Where were the planes?
On now to one of the eeriest moments amid the carnage of 9/11. A mysterious plane was seen flying right over the president's residence.
The E-4Bs over New York and Washington, otherwise known as the Doomsday Planes.
It has never been officially explained.
Cell phones working at impossible altitudes. Solicitor General Ted Olson receiving phone calls that the FBI says were never made.
What happened during that call? This is the only information we have on these terrorists.
She was able to call him twice. How she could pull that off, we don't know, but she did.
These are the questions, Mr. President. These are the questions. They go on and on.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I come to you today representing the families of the victims of September 11th, as well as millions of my fellow Americans. Hopefully by now you've had a chance to read my letter to you, 20 Minutes with the President, and if not, at least had its contents brought to your attention. We have questions, Mr. President. Lots of questions. A lot of them are detailed in my letter, but trust me, there are hundreds of more questions. As my letter chronicles, sir, the 9/11 Commission itself says they were lied to, deceived, and essentially prevented from carrying out a real investigation. The people of the United States and the world demand the truth, sir.
We have to continuously ask questions. That's what a patriot does. That's what a true American does. We ask questions.
You, sir, have the power as well as the responsibility to initiate a truly independent congressional investigation into the events of 9/11 as well as its aftermath. We want our country back, Mr. President. Therefore, I'm not just calling on you and your team. I'm calling on each and every American citizen to wake up, stand up, and demand the truth. We're counting on you, Mr. President. Be on the right side of history.
Are you happy with the way that Obama has been running the country? You a fan?
No.
No?
No, I really think he misinterpreted his mandate. I think a friend of mine said to me the other day, I thought it was a great line, I no longer hope for audacity.
Really?
You know, he's doubled down on a lot of things. Well, going back to that education thing, one of the things, if I were the Adjustment Bureau, this idea that we're testing kids and we're tying teachers' salaries to how the kids are performing on tests. It's just, it's a really, that kind of mechanized thinking has nothing to do with higher order thinking. We're training them, we're not teaching them.
Are you a fan of Barack Obama's?
I'm not a fan of what he's doing at the moment.
Why?
Because I just don't think he's governing. I think he's gotten bad. I don't think he's surrounded himself with the people he could have surrounded himself with. And he's doing just what we were talking about. He's having to just lay out a certain line of that and hope people will believe it so he can stay in the position.
I did say President Obama's policies must fail because they're creating a socialist America. Now, Why do I step out and say that, knowing I'm just going to get a whole bunch of other stuff coming back at me? It's important that we speak out. You know, if we see something amiss, that's our duty as citizens. I'm against his silence on Iran. I'm against Obama's lie that he was going to protect Israel, and now as president, he arrogantly tells them what they can do and what they can't do, as he forgot that our only hope to defend us against Iran's nuclear buildup is Israel. And I'm against his very cunning ability to push things, to rush things through without anybody having a chance to look at them. His stimulus package has failed. Slowly but surely, we can see that Obama's policies are failing. Obama is on his way to bankrupting America.
Look, he's been a horrible president. I always said the worst president was Jimmy Carter. Guess what? Jimmy Carter goes to second place. Barack Obama has been the worst president ever. The history of this country, Barack Obama is number one.
You said some things that you felt were going to happen, and I'm sad to say that everything you predicted has in fact become true. And it was some bold assertions about where we were headed as a country in this administration.
5 years ago, I stated that Obama would take the country apart, piece by piece, that he would cause a civil war in this country. In hindsight, we can see how many things have come to pass. He has been warned numerous times by Prime Minister Netanyahu that our most dangerous enemy now is Iran, who will most definitely have the nuclear bomb. And it will not be for peaceful purposes. It will be to destroy Israel and America, as they have stated. And we certainly can believe these threats. The truth is, as the Supreme Court upheld, that religious freedoms are being infringed upon. My dear friends all over the world, please pay attention to what is taking place in our great America. Stand up for your freedom.
You know what? This is really ironic because you are an opponent of the war in Iraq, yet you're receiving major Oscar buzz for this movie, The Messenger, playing a soldier. How was that?
Well, you know, it was a great experience for me because although I am against the war, and I think justifiably so, I never really had, I kind of lumped the war was just all one thing. I didn't separate out the soldiers because I hadn't spent much time with the soldiers. So it was a great experience to go. We first went to Walter Reed, and but throughout the time that we were shooting, we spent time with soldiers and at Fort Dix as well, where they let us shoot in New Jersey. And, you know, I really came to have a lot of respect for the soldiers. And, you know, it was a missing part of my whole philosophy.
Did you feel like after talking...
people were against the war, but for the soldiers. That's not uncommon.
Did you feel like
people who are against the Iraq war? You're pro a military, but you're against the actual action.
Did you change a little bit after talking to them? Did you understand the cause a little bit more? Did you feel like you were
more... The cause? No, I haven't gotten behind the cause. I'm not a big believer in oil wars.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Afghanistan? How do you feel about Afghanistan?
Afghanistan's about a pipeline.
Chuck Norris's latest book is the Chuck Norris Fact Book, 101 of Chuck's favorite facts and stories. It's actually very funny, but it does have a couple of serious points I do want to share. But Chuck, great to see you.
Good to see you too, Neil. Well, actually, the conference starts on the day the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor.
Does it really?
December 7th. So,
now,
that's some indication right there.
We don't know. Is the president going to go back? Last time he went to Copenhagen, it didn't turn out too well. But is he going to go?
I don't know if he is or not. I don't know if he's going to send Hillary. Who knows what he's going to do?
Well, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is one of those who's been espousing sort of updating the Kyoto Accord, this global environmental sort of watch.
Truthfully, I think he will go.
And you think he's going to make some big concessions?
Oh, definitely. I really think he's going over there to try to create a one world order. And I think.
Well, what's your big worry?
My big worry is the fact is that we, as a nation, if we start having to be obligated to other countries, like in this conference, they're going to try to take our money and send it to third world countries because of since we spend so much oil and these other countries have suffered, then we're going to give our money to these third world countries. Neil, we have people here starving in our own country. My foundation, I have families who are making $9,000 a year with the kids that I'm teaching. Why aren't we trying to help the poverty in our own country?
But isn't this just about a cleaner globe? You don't buy that?
I don't buy that. I don't buy. Al Gore became a $100 million millionaire, from this global bombardment, but I don't believe it for a second. I think it's a big con game that they're doing.
But nevertheless, you fear that the president is going to concede and give these countries what they want, be part of this globalist tradition, and then what happens?
Who knows what's going to happen? God forbid this even that this happens in our country. Our country, as we know it now, will no longer exist, Neil. That's the whole thing right there.
Well, the proponents in Copenhagen, they're beautiful people. They're very attractive. You spend too much time in Fallujah, you should really get out. But they say we'll have a cleaner world and everyone will be happy, including Chuck Norris.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. First of all, I don't believe China's going to go for this. I don't believe India's going to go for this. And they're not going to start cutting.
China's the world's biggest polluter now.
I know they are, and they're not going to change. So the thing is, for them to say, well, United States, you change, but we're not going to change. So you clean up your country, but we're going to keep, polluting our part of the world. It's ludicrous. It really